Germany's participation in the Beijing 2022 Winter Olympic Games proved to be extremely successful. The country came second in the medal table, just behind Scandinavian country Norway. What is less known is the fact that in every second medal that Germany won, an athlete from East Germany actually participated, either as part of a team or as an individual athlete winning that medal. That is quite astonishing considering the fact that the East German population is only 1/7 of the overall population of the country. But Germany's sporting success and the role that East German athletes and East German coaches play in that success is very much a legacy of the time when Germany was a divided country between 1949 and 1989, and the focus that the East Germans put on sports as a tool to demonstrate political strength. And that's exactly what I would like to speak about in the next few minutes. That is Germany's division as an Olympic team in the time period between 1952 and 1992, when we had various status of Germany at the Olympic Games. Now, Germany, with its capital Berlin, was actually the host of the last Summer Olympic Games before the Second World War. This was a highly politicized event, and the Nazi regime that was in power during the time of the Games misused the Olympic idea very much for propaganda reasons. We know, of course, that only a few years later, the Second World War broke out, and Germany emerged from the Second World War as a divided country. The Federal Republic of Germany was founded in 1949, and the communist-led East Germany, or the German Democratic Republic, was founded only a few months later. And importantly, for the Olympic history, as much as for the political history of Germany, is the fact that both countries claimed to have the exclusive mandate over the entire German territory. That is, that they claimed they were the only real government for the entire Germany. And this political claim strongly influenced the history of Germany in the Olympic movement during this time period of the end of the 1940s until the beginning of the 1990s. At the 1948 Olympic Games in London, Germany did not participate. That was due to the fact that Germany was sort of punished for their role in the Second World War, but also because no National Olympic Committee had been constituted in the country. And a National Olympic Committee's recognition is a precondition to be participating in the Olympic Games. And that recognition comes from the International Olympic Committee, the IOC. The IOC awarded a National Olympic Committee of the Federal Republic of Germany, that is West Germany, in 1951. And at that point, the Western National Olympic Committee, in line with the political opinion, claimed that it represented the entire German territory. And according to the IOC statutes, there could also only be one National Olympic Committee per territory. And that made it impossible for the IOC to recognize the East German National Olympic Committee that was founded in the early 1950s and also sought for IOC recognition. And therefore, in 1952, only Western German athletes participated at the Olympic Games. But there was strong lobbying from the Soviet Union. We have to remember this is the time of the Cold War, and the Soviets certainly, just like the United States, also heavily used sports and particularly the Olympic movement for political reasons. And the Soviet Unions, they wanted to have their communist allies, the GDR, in the Olympics. And so they got several national sport federations of the GDR recognized with international federations, and that actually led to a joint German team at the 1956 Olympic Games. A joint team of two countries that were polar opposite when it comes to political views is certainly extraordinary, and it took long negotiations about how do we select athletes, which sort of national symbols do we take, and how do we also come together as one team in a more spiritual, in a more mental sense. But in 1959, the GDR introduced its own flag and anthem and various other political symbols. And therefore, for the 1960 Olympic Games, there was a long discussion on which flag the joint German team should march into the Olympic Stadium and should represent the athletes. And here is where the IOC came up with a compromise. That is, they used the black, red, and gold colors of the German flag, but put the Olympic rings in the middle. So not the Eastern German and not the Western German political symbols were used. There was further political complications, of course, and tensions increased when in 1961, the East German government started to build the Berlin Wall. And therefore in 1964, the atmosphere within the joint German team was very complicated. It was in fact two teams, but they were just competing under one flag. And therefore in 1968, we had two teams of East and West Germany. They all both used the same flag, still the black, red, and gold flag with the Olympic rings on it. But in essence, it was two teams that competed, and they were also separated in the official reports. And so ironically, it was in 1972 that the GDR participated for the first time as an individual National Olympic Committee at the Olympic Games. Why is it ironic? Well, that's because the Games were held in Germany, in West Germany, in Munich. So it was actually on enemy ground that the GDR could for the first time demonstrate its sporting strength. And they absolutely did so. The GDR won more medals than West Germany. And as a matter of fact, they ended up on top of the West Germans in all editions of the Olympic Games until the GDR was dissolved at the beginning of the 1990s. The GDR heavily invested into sports in various aspects. There was a huge investment in sports science, training facilities, but also, of course, that is well known in a doping regime. That was a state-led doping regime in which athletes were systematically doped from a very young age so that they would be successful in mega sport events. And that was, at that point, mainly the Olympic Games. So the GDR, as I mentioned, ended up in the medal tables in third place, second place, and second place overall, ahead of much bigger countries such as the United States in some cases, or certainly also China, that only emerged as a sporting superpower throughout the 1980s as well. So we have those two German teams competing at the time, and it takes until the beginning of the 1990s when we have a joint German team again. Now, however, not joint in the sense that we have two countries participating under one team, but because Germany unified, of course, after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Importantly, many of the East German expertise, coaches, facilities were overtaken by the German sport system. Also coaches that had come strongly in touch with doping were integrated into the German sports system, for which it was actually heavily criticized also. But this legacy of East German sport and the strong focus on it certainly lives on. And as I started out this short video, we can certainly see it also in the success of the German team at the 2022 Beijing Olympic Games. So hopefully you found that little history of the two Germanys at the Olympic movement somewhat insightful, and I would really appreciate any feedbacks or comments that you have. Thank you.